In this video, I'm going to create the first console program with in C#. So to do that, we click on the Visual Studio icon, and at this point, the software will ask us which kind of program do we want to run. So the option is create a new project for us. So I click on that. And at this point, we have many different options. For right now, for what we need to do is we need a console app, which allows creating command line applications that can run on .NET, on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. So this is what we want for us. So I click on console app, I click on next. At this point, we want to give a name to our app, and I will call it here project app 000, actually app 01, and then I will call it write a string. Okay, here the solution will be app 001, write a string, and now we need to find the folder that we want to use. I created on my PC a folder called C#, and here I create new folder, and guess what? It's gonna be called app 001 write a string. Great. So I'm inside that folder. I select the folder. Perfect. At this point, we click on next. I leave everything else as it is. And I have options here to use either .NET 8.0 long-term support or .NET 9.0 standard term support. I'll go for the latest, but I think for what we are doing doesn't make any difference. Okay, here if I tick this box, the software will show me behind the scene all the different structure, the entry level of my code. But since we are beginner, I'm not gonna see behind the scene all the classes, all the projects or things. I just want to write simple code to keep it easy for us. So I will not tick that box. Of course, you can explore what's the difference if you tick the box. And I clicked on create. It's creating the project for us. And in this project, we are going to write the simple line, hello, with your first name. And then we are going to add one single line to avoid the console to close immediately. Okay, so we are here in Visual Studio. There we go. As you can see here, app 01, write a string. This will be our program, CS in C#. And by default, this is what is shown on screen. If I simply run the default code that we can see here, by clicking on this green arrow, the software will very shortly show something on screen and then disappear immediately. So it's not very handy for us to have this to happen. It's compiling. Okay. Perfect. So as you can see, did the job, hello world, in a console. If I click a button, spacebar, everything will disappear. Okay, as you can see on the very first line of the code, we have here some comments, and that indeed is necessary if you want to learn more about what is a console template. You click on Control and you can access Windows web page where they give more information. But I'm not interested into doing that. When you see this // is to write a comment. So I can write everything. When the compiler will look at this // will skip it and will not be part of the program. So here I can write the instructions, what this line Console.WriteLine is doing. This line is writing a string on the console. And here, just to play a little bit, instead of writing hello world, I want to write hello and my first name, Giorgio. Hello, Giorgio. Great. Now, what is happening? I want also to add another line, which is asking the console to wait for a key press event. So I write this instruction, which is console. You can press tab to get it. Now, instead of write line, I want to use another instruction called read key. Tabulator, and then indeed each line has to finish with the semicolon. And here I want just to instruct the software to wait for a key pressed event to close the console. Okay, so let's see what's going on if I compile this code. Here we go. So we have the console, hello Giorgio, no other writing are written there like it used to be before. That is nicer, isn't it? And now if I press any key on my keyboard, that console will disappear. Done. Perfect. So the software is doing what we want. At this point, we want to see a little bit behind the scene what are the libraries that are used to write on screen hello world. If you click on this little icon here, we can see a lot of directives: system collections, system input output, and so on. These are all libraries that are used behind the scene in order to make our simple application working. These libraries have code in it that are explaining our compiler, our software, what will be doing. Without this, we'll not have a clear understanding from our compiler and what has to be done. So for example, the explanation of the keyword console and what does this keyword has been programmed by software engineers as part of the framework that we are using. And all of this information is already included in all these libraries, so we don't have to worry about that. But at least you know that these instructions are already given by all these libraries, and in the end we are just benefiting from all the work done behind the scene. Now we want to talk about variables. The first variable that we are considering is the string variable, which is a label basically, and we want to learn how to declare a variable, how to assign a value to a variable, and how to access that variable. So let's begin. We want here to add maybe some new variables. So I want to declare a variable. I will call declare a string variable, and I will call it family members. Okay, so at this point I want to create this variable, so I will write string because I'm declaring this variable, and then I will call it my family. Okay, normally in programming language you will start with the lowercase of your variable name, and then as soon as you have another word added to the variable, we'll start with capital. So my family members. See, the first letter is capital of each second and third part of the variable, but not at the very beginning. Okay, this is how programmers are writing the variable names, and I will follow the same way. Okay, my family members, and now of course the machine doesn't know what is that. I need to complete that. Now I can assign a variable to my variables, and in this case I will call it for example my family members with tab equals, and at this point I will put a family member, I'm inventing name, Anne. Okay, virtual wife. Okay, so now at this point we know that we have a particular value Anne assigned to a variable. Okay, now Anne is a string. We know that is a string because we use these quotations, and at the beginning and end of a string there will be always quotations. Okay, now is a good practice to comment all the new lines that we have. In this case, now I have assigned a value to the my family members variable. Clear, isn't it? Simple as well. Okay, the next step now is to use the variable. And how we will use it? By writing console, and there is a shortcut for console. If I click on CW, is the same as console. If you do CW and tab, the machine will write Console.WriteLine. That is to make it quicker. And now we want to access my family members. Okay, here I will write my family members, tab as always. Here we go. Okay, at this point the software has accessed the variable, and indeed will display on the console the label, so the value, in this case a string, Anne, of that variable. And then I want to move this little code here like that, so the software will wait for us. So let's see what's the behavior of this little code. It's building it, it's compiling our lines of code, and we should expect hello Giorgio on top, and then the word an, because indeed an is the value that has been assigned to the variable myFamilyMembers. Great. A variable can be overwritten. In this case, I will write, for example, myFamilyMembers equal, let's say, Jack. And at this point, I will ask the machine to write again the line. And indeed, we want this console read key just to stop the console to close automatically. So at this point, we have rewritten the variable, the string that is within the variable as a value from an to Jack. Let's compile. There we go. So originally myFamilyMembers had a string value an, isn't it? But then I have overwritten the word from an to Jack. And indeed, now the same variable, myFamilyMembers, has now a different identity, is Jack. I think it's quite intuitive. Perfect. Let's click a button to close the window. So here I am overwriting the variable value. There we go. That will change from an to Jack. An alternative is that we can do both declare and assign a variable in one single line. I could write, for example, string my family names to family members 2, and I can say equal Wednesday. Okay, odd name, but who cares? And at this point, what is happening is that we have done both. We have declared and a variable and assigned a value to it. There we go. Let's see the behavior of these latest changes. Okay, see? Oh, of course, I need actually to write that as well. So let me do that. Console.WriteLine myFamilyMembers too. If I don't write them, the console is not going to write the name, right? There we go. And as you can see, now we don't have what we need. Why is that? Because I have to put myFamilyMembers too, not by family member. Okay, so you see, learning by doing. Now it's gonna work, I'm sure about it, but you know, we want to prove it. Here we go. Wednesday finally has appeared, because of course I did have to write in the console the new variable and the value within the new variable, that is the name Wednesday. There we go. Okay, so I think we're quite satisfied. I'm satisfied by this outcome. We can conclude this video now. See you later.